So, totally spaced it and forgot that I was going to go live at 3, so I'm a little late, guys. But that's all right, we're here. And it's deer camp talk time, so yeah, that's what's going on. Right now I'm talking to myself because there's nobody here. But we might get some people join on, who knows? Talk about deer camp, talk about, you know, what we're doing with bows and killing stuff and all that fun stuff. I don't know. If anybody shows up. If nobody shows up, then nobody shows up. And I've got this really silly live video here. Totally forgot I was going to do this, but that's okay. We'll get better at this. I'd like to make this a yearly thing, but maybe I'll try to get better. Have more people or tell more people about it. Oh, looks like somebody came on. Awesome. Hi, how you doing? We're going to be talking about deer camp stuff here, I think. Just basically hunting and everything and changing from states, man. Last year I was hunting the Michigan woods, and now I'm in the Columbia River, Willamette Valley thing, and in Oregon. So I'm chasing after blacktail instead of chasing after whitetail. So that's cool. Phone's going off the hook. It's been a crazy busy couple of weeks. It's like it seems like every time I want to do stuff, everything gets extra busy. You guys know I moved out here because I'm a pastor, and I took a church out here to pastor, and they've been wonderful, by the way. But it's gotten crazy busy. Yeah, so still looks like some people join, some people go away, and they're like, "Hey, we don't like this Truax guy." So, oh, there's my wife, and she's letting the beagles in. Look, beagles. Wait, beagles. All right. They keep on trying to go all the way from the camera. Beagles. All right. Anyways. So we'll hang out here for a while, see if anybody shows up. It's kind of a weird time to do this, I guess. I was thinking about doing it later, but then I have people out in Michigan who this is like 6:30 there, who watch and all that. So I wanted to throw it on at a time where I could get both audiences, both out west and back in Michigan. Man, got those deer back there. Those are some stories. We got the videos for both of those actually on our channel, so you guys can watch those hunts. The one's a 7-point, and that was actually my first buck ever. I say my first archery buck because I was really embarrassed that it was my first buck ever. I had been hunting for like 8 years, and I had never been taught how to hunt. I had never been, had my dad take me out hunting and that sort of thing. And so I really was starting from scratch. And so I'd been hunting for 8 years, trying to figure it out, trying to learn, reading things. And it finally came together with that 7-point back there. I'll show you guys. Looks like we got somebody watching. Awesome. Thanks for watching. So that 7-point right there is the first, my first buck. Yeah. And that was my second buck, which we also have that video, the 8-point. That was a fun one too. But that first buck, I said in the video, because I was super self-conscious, and I guess I should come clean on that. I said in the first video, I was like, this is my first archery buck. And I said it that way, and it's kind of messed up, but I said it that way because it actually was my first buck. And like I said, super embarrassed because I've been hunting for 8 years and not gotten one. If you ever seen, there's a movie we'd watch in Michigan often for opener, and it was called Escanaba in the Moonlight. And the whole premise of that movie was this guy was the buckless Youper. And a Youper is somebody who lives in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And anyways, so I was feeling like that, right? I was getting up in age and hadn't had a buck, and I lived in Michigan, I was from Michigan. And finally, like I said, that 7-point came together, and that's why my emotions are so excited there. And then, part of you, after you get your first buck and everything, and I was fortunate enough to get it on film, but after you get your first buck, you almost don't believe it's ever going to happen again. You're like, is it really going to ever happen again? And so the next year, that 8-point was just wonderful. I did not get a deer last year, and the reason for that is um, I only had about 2 weeks to hunt, and yeah, it just didn't work out because we were moving across the country, and here we are in Oregon. So blacktail, because they have whitetail here, but they're very protected, and I've been told that they're south, but some people say they're north, so I'm not sure. So they don't really have much whitetail here, but they have blacktail, and I guess blacktail is some kind of like mutation of muleys or something like that. But they have blacktail. They are smaller than whitetail, and they seem to be a lot less skittish. Now, I know that's going to sound weird because I've heard from a lot of Oregonians, they say, well, no, they're the ghost, they're super skittish. It's been really strange because as I've been out scouting and seeing them, these deer react nothing like whitetail. Like whitetail hear just a little bit, or they hear your voice or something, and they freak and they run. Blacktail actually don't run so much. They don't. They don't really care that you're there half the time. And I was just scouting yesterday with a buddy, and we went up and we're going around, and there's these two blacktail, this doe and a yearling with her, and they were just looking at us. They looked at us enough for me to take a picture of it. So that was pretty cool. And it seems like blacktail are a lot less skittish, so I think that's in my favor. I'll be going. So we're having a heat wave right now here in Oregon, which is kind of stinks that archery season opens during a heat wave. So Saturday it's supposed to be like 95 degrees. I'm thinking I am going to go out and try to hunt, but I'm going to be very picky if anything comes in because, to be honest, like I definitely don't want meat spoilage. I'm going to keep a cooler in my truck. I'm going to have ice in it. I'll have some bags so that way the flavor doesn't leach out in the water, that sort of thing. But I will have to like quarter it up quickly and get it in there so no meat spoilage happens. So if I don't get a deer opening day, which is Saturday, for blacktail archery, if I don't get one, I'm not going to freak out about it. But I am going to try to document this process of getting blacktails. So I'm going to try to have a video for every time that I go out, and we'll kind of highlight some of the struggles, highlight what we saw, what we didn't see, and that sort of thing. Some of them might be short. I don't know. But it's going to be a lot of fun going after a different animal than whitetail, as I've been hunting whitetail since I ever started hunting. So, by the way, if you guys have any questions or any thoughts, or you've watched the show and you've got questions from a different fishing or crabbing or Michigan fishing or hunting or anything, please feel free to put them in the comments. This is kind of just a hangout to get us ready for the season, and I'm sure some people might even watch this later. Yeah. So yeah. I hope you guys are going to have an amazing season too. I mean, if you're watching this and you can comment where you're from, looks like we lost our viewers, kind of. We have one like on there and lost viewers. Maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes it's weird. Like sometimes it says there's 0 and then there's somebody there. Sometimes it says there's like 16 and there's nobody there. And so we'll see. But I figured we could do this for a little while. Not much action, then we'll stop it. But having fun and all that kind of stuff, So we get really excited to get out there. I did not get an elk tag this year. What's really cool about Oregon is as a resident, I can get blacktail over the counter. I can get black bear over the counter. I can get cougar over the counter, and I can get elk over the counter. I chose not to get elk over the counter this year because I don't know that I'll have enough time. And I just recently found out that there actually are some elk that are very reachable close to where I live. And so I might have been able to had I scouted for it. But so mostly this hunting season, we're going to be looking for blacktail and then black bear and cougar. What's cool is those seasons completely overlap. So while I'm hunting for blacktail, if a black bear comes in front of me, guess what? It's going to get an arrow in its side. If a cougar comes in front of me, it's going to get an arrow. Because that's what we're out there for, right? And so I'm really excited about that. I think having a cougar Euro mount or a black bear Euro mount would be just incredible, right? So gonna do that. Like I said, the only problem we've got right now is the heat. We're having a kind of a heat wave. They're calling it. It's like 95 degrees, 96. That sort of thing. Been really busy lately, so I don't know if you've noticed, but kind of not putting out content. I wanted to do it weekly, but I've not been putting out content that much, and I've been struggling to put out the bi-weekly content just because my son started football, and he's pretty excited about that. He's a starter on the JV team, playing on the line, and he's really excited about that. So, haven't been able to put out very much content that I was hoping to. Oh, my daughter's coming through. Say hi, Zoe.
There's a stand, Dad.
I don't like that stand.
You don't like this stand?
No.
You might have to hold your phone.
Yeah, but you're gonna say hi.
Oh, hi.
Yeah. There's. It says that there's nobody watching, but maybe people watch us later. I don't know. So one of the things that I was thinking about talking about is buck fever. So I don't know if you guys have ever had buck fever, and I'd actually wager that you probably have, even if you're the really macho. I don't get buck fever, because buck fever isn't what people think, right? Buck fever is that adrenaline that happens when a buck comes in front of you, and it's actually that feeling that you almost live for when you get out in the woods, right? When I get out in the woods, I love to hunt, right? I love to hunt animals, particularly deer, particularly bucks. When a doe comes in front of me, I do not get that kind of adrenaline spike and that excitement that I do when a buck comes. It just is what it is. Now that adrenaline spike is buck fever. The only difference, I think the only difference that people view it as is like true buck fever, like hardcore buck fever, makes you like miss the shot or mess things up. Whereas, normal buck fever, which is what I think almost all hunters get, because in my mind, that's like that buck fever feeling is one of the reasons I do it, because, I just love the excitement of having that animal in front of me, and my heart starts pounding, and you get the shaky breath and you're still fighting against yourself so you can get the shot right and everything. That's totally what I'm really excited about when I'm hunting. That's what makes the draw for it. That and then the meat. I mean, my kids absolutely love eating venison. My wife likes eating venison. I eat venison. And so that's the other big reason, obviously. And then lastly is the trophy on the wall. And a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't care about the trophy. You can't eat the horns, blah, 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 blah. Those same guys, we're going to get a nice buck, they're going to put it on the wall. That's just how it is, because everybody loves to have the trophy on the wall, right? And so you put the trophy on the wall, you put the meat in the freezer, you're happy, and it's a good time. So would love to hear from you guys back in Michigan, too. How's things going? Honestly, I find myself a little nervous about the whole 10 doe thing that they're still doing. And even now they're adding on like the late antlerless season for public land and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, man, at least for me, from what I saw, and it's anecdotal for sure, but from what I saw, it seemed like I was seeing less deer. And I am somebody who thought the APRs were a good thing in Michigan and everything. But as far as like the taking 10 does, but not everybody's doing that, and I get that. And so I could be completely off base, and maybe I just didn't see as many deer as I thought. But I guess even in the winter, it seemed like the fields that I'm used to seeing, probably 30, 40 deer in one field, I would only see like 8 or 9. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is fine, but it just seems like a lot. Oh, something else that happened just recently. I saw an advertisement. Oh, my dog wants out. Should I let him out? Annie, do you want out? Huh? You want out? Are you a pretty girl? Yeah, you're a pretty girl. I'll let you out, Bug Mama. Man, it's pretty hot outside. I like this because it's like informal and, doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to record something important or anything. Just a little hangout time with whoever watches, whoever comes on. So anyways, I was just about to say something cool that just happened for the channel. I saw an advertisement that Mad Viking Beard Oil Company was looking to have some affiliates. And so I got a hold of them, and they did approve us to be an affiliate with them. You know, they are very secular, and my channel is kind of more geared towards being, you know, family friendly, and you know, I'm a Christian, and it's open there, and so would love to find a beard company or other companies that would like to work with us. That would be really cool. But until then, you know, if we can sell some beard oil, and it is quality beard oil, we might start advertising for Mad Viking Beard Company. So that might happen. I don't know. Tell me what you think. We did get approved and whatnot. We've got the whole affiliate link and the discount code and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's something I'm kind of praying on and thinking about. So that's another thing that's pretty awesome. What's hunting in Oregon like compared to hunting in Michigan? There's an interesting topic. So in Michigan, hunting whitetail on public land, and that's, I am shocked the difference between public land hunting and private land hunting and the mentalities of the two. You know, I never understood why private land guys thought that what public land hunters were doing was totally stupid, and public land guys thought that what private land guys were totally stupid and things like that. And until I started really meeting a lot more hunters who do both. Now, I'm a public land hunter generally. We did get a property that we could hunt, you know, on the days I can't get all the way out to the public land because we're about 20 miles out from public land. So that's cool, and I will be doing that. And if I take my deer, because you only get one general tag for a deer in Oregon. So if I take my deer there, I take my deer there. It is what it is. But if I take my deer, but if I take my deer in public land, awesome, it's public land. All that being said, so hunting Michigan public land, and I make that point because it's different in private land, but hunting Michigan public land is very difficult because patterning whitetail in Michigan is very difficult. It's the deer have a huge territory that they cover, right? And they're very skittish, right? So you have to be really quiet. The terrain, though, is super gentle. I mean, even some of the hardest terrain that you're going to find in Michigan is very gentle, very easy to hunt. Even if you have to go into the really hard bush, and you know, to get in there, it's pretty gentle, pretty easy. Not a lot of pickers. They do exist, but overall, it's super gentle hunting in Michigan, easy. The animals, though, themselves are very hard to hunt. Whitetail, I would probably say, and this is, yep, I don't have complete experience. I've just done a lot of scouting and whatnot. So whitetail are easier to or harder to hunt than blacktail because blacktail, so far, my experience is blacktail are very less skittish, and you can get close to them, and they are less timid and less likely to run than whitetail are. And so, and I've watched some videos that kind of verify that too, but I've seen that personal in my experience too. So, you know, and if you're an Oregon hunter and you think I'm totally wrong, then let me know. And I guess we'll find out when I get out in the field, right? Looking forward to Saturday. So anyways, that's Michigan hunting, you know, easy terrain, very hard animals. So Oregon hunting is the exact opposite of that, right? You've got very hard terrain with, actually, I would say the blacktails seem to be an easier animal to hunt. They're easier to find. You just got to pay attention to the deer sign. You got to pay attention to game trails and things like that. I mean, I was shocked. You know, I found a good spot, found a game trail to go on, and I put up my camera, my game camera, and I mean, it was the first placement of my camera. I was getting deer. I was getting does. I was getting fawns. I was getting bucks. You know, on that trail cam, very quickly. And then, you know, I've done some other scouting, and actually a friend took me out and we did some scouting. And what's interesting is he's a public land hunter too, and he's been successful. You know, he's lived here in Oregon for a long time, and he's very successful. He's guided in the area that we're going to be hunting out in the Malala corridor, and he almost always gets a deer. And he's kind of seeing the same thing that I'm saying when I'm scouting. So we'll see. You know, you talk a big game, right? And it's all different when you go out. So Saturday, we are going to go out. I'm going to sit in the woods after the hike. So that's another thing. So Oregon hunting, like I said, difficult terrain, seems like easier to get the animal. But we're going to hike, and to get to the spot, you have to do an incline. Everything is uphill here. And so the incline is, I would say, it's probably 600 feet, 600 to 700 feet that we have to ascend, that we have to gain in elevation when we're hiking to get to the initial spot where we're going. And so, it involves more. And so one of the things that's different in Michigan, I did not have to prepare my body for the hunt, right? I didn't have to do any training. I didn't have to go out and get a gym membership and that sort of thing, or go hiking often or anything like that. Basically what I would do, because I installed satellite internet, I just drive all over Michigan, and then you just pull over and walk into the woods, right? And then you find a good spot and you sit, and it's really not anything that you really have to train hard for. Well, here it's a little bit different. So in order to get to land that is huntable, you have to get up on top of the mountains, because the valleys are very narrow. Any of the valley that, like the Willamette Valley, that is developed is all private land. There's almost like no public land that's in the valley. The public land is all in the mountains, so you have to go and find mountainous terrains, river cuts, things like that. And basically, you have to go up. You can follow the river, and I plan on trying to do that. If I'm not very successful soon, I'll try to go and follow the river, and we'll have fun doing that. But yeah, mostly you have to go uphill, and once you get uphill, that's where the terrain becomes more huntable and more hikeable and all that. And really, you can spread out into the forest, because in Oregon, it's not like Michigan where you just walk in and you're in huntable forest. Here, you have to get into the mountain, on top of the mountain, to really find huntable land. So that's a big difference. And so I've actually been going to the gym, trying to first I bulked up a little bit. I started to work on bench press, and just to make myself stronger in general. And then I've added a 20-minute routine where I put the treadmill at a high incline, and I go at a fast walking pace, and I do 20 minutes of that. And actually that helped immensely, because when I first started going up to my hunting spot, I'd have to take like 3 or 4 or 5 breaks sometimes going up that incline, you know what I mean? Because it's steep. Whereas when I was, after I've done the training, I can make it up in one go. And so that's another big difference between hunting in Oregon and preparing for Oregon and hunting in Michigan, that's for sure. I'm going to let the dogs back in because they were bugging me. I locked my wife out too, I didn't realize. It's hot out there, and she's still sitting out there, man. Oh well, she's resilient, right? It's like 90 some degrees right now. But so there's another big difference, right? Looks like hi Truax from Patrick Stevens. Hey man, how's it going? Man, good seeing you. We're having a, I don't know, sit down conversation for deer camp style, hanging out, talking about hunting. Yeah, so where was I? I don't know. I was talking about Oregon being difficult. Yeah. So the terrain's difficult. The animals seem easier, and maybe I'm totally wrong. But we'll see. So yeah, I will. What's the game plan? So the game plan, originally I had a spot where I had trail cams, and I was seeing deer. I have not seen the bucks that I saw initially, and I was seeing them normally, but I've been told that for a couple weeks they tend to go off and scrape off their velvet and everything in different spots, and so that's why I'm not seeing them probably. I went to a seminar, a blacktail hunting seminar earlier this year, and they said that blacktail bucks live their whole life in, and I believe he said 400 by 400 yards squared, which is a very small area compared to where whitetails, territories are. I mean, they're miles, right? And so that was an interesting thing to know. And so those bucks should be in the spot that I placed my trail cam. They also do baiting out here, which is something that's different for me, and I think it gives me an advantage because in Michigan you couldn't do baiting, and so you had to learn different ways to find the deer and pattern the deer and be where the deer are going to be. Well, now since they allow baiting here, I actually threw out some just some minerals in that spot. And so a buddy of mine, like I said, took me to another spot, and there's just game trails just all throughout there. You can see deer, and he hunted the spot last year, and on his trail cam he had uh, probably 6 different bucks, I think it was, a whole bunch of bears, and one mountain lion in this spot. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that mineral lick that I put out there where my trail cam is for a few days, a week or so, and I'm going to hunt that other area. And then I'll just alternate. I think one week I'll hunt that area, one week I'll hunt the trail cam area. And then on the days that I can't hunt up in the mountains, like I said, I was given access to some private land uh, out about 5 miles out of town, and we set up a blind there. And I can just go there, and on the days, when because in order to hunt in the corridor and have it be viable, I will have to go out around probably 2 or so, and that would be that's going to be difficult to do every day. To have that much time out of my day, because I've got to still do my all my pastoral duties. I've got to write my sermon, and I've got to do visitations and things like that. Life can't stop because I want to hunt as much as I'd like it to. So on the days that I can, I'll be going out there, and I'll be alternating those sites, and sometimes just doing walking too. Sometimes I just like to stalk and then sit when I find a good looking spot. But then on the days that I can, I'll be going to the private land and see if we can take one there. And the thing is, guys, I'm feeling oddly confident that I'm going to be able to take one of these animals, which is pretty exciting. I would love to have. I've got 2 whitetails hanging on the wall. I would honestly love to have a blacktail hanging on the wall next to him. I'd love to have a black bear Euromount and a cougar Euromount too, which we've got tags for. That's what's really exciting about here. In Michigan, it's a 10-year draw for a black bear. They don't have cougars to hunt there. They do have bobcat, but that's a kind of a fur bearers thing. But here, while I'm hunting blacktail, I can hunt cougar and I can hunt black bear. And if they happen to walk by me, as long as I'm not using bait, so it'll only be effective in that one spot where I've got the mineral lick. I don't think I can actually kill a bear over that. But I can in the spot that I have no bait. So as long as I'm not using bait, I can shoot either a blacktail, I can shoot a black bear, and I can shoot a cougar because I have those tags, and they're general over-the-counter tags. How crazy is that, right? So that's the plan. That's kind of what we're looking at. So it says we got 2 people watching now, and there's been people in and out and everything. You guys got any question for me? Anything from my other videos or things like that? Feel free to comment. I'm gonna be on for a little while longer, and we're just hanging out and talk about buck fever more or anything. You guys just go ahead and comment, and I will say something. And then if you guys are watching this later, after the live happens, feel free to also comment, and I'll respond via text. And that sort of thing. Having a blast, man. We're really liking Oregon. The fact that there's any there is literally almost any terrain we could desire within a 2-hour drive. Right? The ocean is 2 hours away from us. So the Pacific Ocean is 2 hours away from us. The desert is 2 hours away from us. We live in basically a temperate rainforest. And then we've got, mountains that we can go in. There's 20 minutes in almost any direction I can find a waterfall, which is incredible. And when I say waterfall, I'm not talking like little spots. No, like full on huge size waterfalls, right? So you guys have seen that reflected in our channel. One of the things about Truax Outdoors that we've wanted it to be is we never wanted it to truly be a niche channel, niche, whatever you call it, channel that was just like only crabbing or only fishing or only hunting or any of that stuff. We really wanted to highlight the outdoors because, one, we are so thankful to God for the creation that we get to be in. It's beautiful, it's wonderful. We wanted to highlight creation, and one of the big things with that is a lot of you, or a lot of people who watch this at least, are outdoors enthusiasts, and some of them can't get out and do it themselves. And so we wanted to be able to take people with us while we go on those adventures. Is there a motive of trying to earn some extra money? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to make money where you can. And so part of our channel is trying to figure out how to monetize appropriately so we can basically the main motive of that, other than, it'd be great if we blew up and that was all we did. But the main motive really is just being able to afford doing this stuff that we love, right? Getting out in the woods and going fishing and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of the premise of the channel, just going out in the outdoors and enjoying it. We haven't done any rock hounding. We wanted to, but we just couldn't swing it at the time. Things have been kind of tight. I will say Oregon is significantly more expensive than Michigan. That's for sure. As far as rent, as far as groceries and everything, it's just crazy expensive here, even with utilities and all that stuff. So that's a big difference that we're getting used to in Oregon versus Michigan. But the another thing that was really weird, there doesn't seem to be the same amount of people who love archery hunting, or even hunting in general. I mean, there are a lot of hunters. Don't get me wrong, but it's seems the hunting culture has been really subdued. I've met people who are afraid to say that they're hunters, to show off their dead heads, or to show off their kills and all that kind of stuff. And I find that kind of sad. Hunting is a heritage, right? We've been doing it since since we've been walking, and my grandfather's 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 grandfather. That's how they survived, right? They were hunting. And so that's something that I think that's part of our culture that we should never shun, and we should never make people feel like they're wrong for doing. Hunting is a good thing when done appropriately. The ancient day, or not the ancient days, but the early days when they just decimated populations and had no regard for replenishing the population, that was an issue. That was a problem, right? We saw that was a problem. But it's also a problem to let the animals run wild. And I can I'll make the argument from two sources, because not all of you who watch are believers, and that's okay. I think there's a dual argument that can be made from both perspectives, from both the godly perspective and from the worldly perspective. So from the godly perspective, we need to make sure that hunting is part of being good stewards, right? Because sometimes populations get too high, and as good stewards that God's called us to be, He's told us to have dominion over the earth, right? To subdue it, and that's what we're supposed to be doing to make it good and last, right? That's our responsibility as stewards. And so we need to make sure that we're replenishing the animals and that we're not over harvesting and those kinds of things. And that's well and good. And so I really think that that it is important that we hunt responsibly. But I don't think, man, anybody should ever be shamed for being a hunter, or made to feel like they're doing something wrong, because you're not, okay? These are animals, all right? They are animals, different than us, and they are there for us to eat and to use, and we just need to make sure we're not wasteful, and we need to respect our kill, right? So then there's the humanist argument also that I think is valid, and a lot of people kind of are hypocrites about this. So the humanist view of why hunting is necessary is, the humanist would believe that we are part of the animal kingdom, right? And that's one of the things that gets kind of overlooked when they consider this problem. The humans are the big evil. Humans are why everything's wrong and all that stuff. Blah blah blah. The problem is they're not seeing that, well, if their perspective is correct, we're just part of the animal kingdom, which means that what we do is actually an appropriate part of the system, right? And so hunting is an appropriate part of that system, and we should be doing it in a responsible way, right? We have the intellect to know that, hey, we need to replenish the game, otherwise we won't have it, right? So we manage the herds, we manage the forests, and we do those things because, as part of the system, as like I said, the humanist would look at our role in that system, just like the bacteria eat the decomposition and all that, or deals with decomposition and all that. Our role in the system is to manage the system, right? That's what the humanist argument is for why hunting is an excellent thing and fishing and all those kinds of things when done responsibly. And then, like I said, the godly version is simply we need to be good stewards. And so I can really see it from both perspectives, but that hunting and fishing and being an outdoors person is validly important. And I hope that you guys see that too. And so if you're in the Pacific Northwest, don't be ashamed of being a hunter. I did a hiking video, a solo hiking video, and it actually was getting a lot more traction than most of my hiking videos do. And I just called it solo hike. And in that hiking video, I was scouting, right? I was saying, well, I'm looking for deer sign and where I would like to put stands and that sort of thing. It was just kind of a scouting hike, and it was a solo hike. Well, I put solo hike, and so a lot of hikers from the area, I think, watched it, and it is my most disliked video that I have. I was shocked. Like, why is this video so disliked, right? I mean, it's just hiking and talking about hunting. Well, then I put two and two together and realized that culturally here, hunting is not as okay to most people. And wow, like I was shocked that that's why people are disliking the content of my hiking videos because a lot of hikers think that hunting's some evil. Stop it, right? We're all outdoors people and we're all trying to do what's best. We're all trying to manage the herd and or not, well, we're all trying to like keep the forest pristine, right? And part of that is herd management, and that's what a hunter and fisherman's job is. Yeah, I feel like I went on a long somebody's calling me. What's that? Oh, I'll have him leave a message. And yeah, I'll have him leave a message. There's no Oregon number, but I don't want to have that while I'm doing this live in case it's a pastoral call or something. So they'll leave a message. I'll be off here pretty soon, anyways. Um. So, anyways, yeah. If you guys got any comments or questions or whatnot, we talked a little bit about those deer. That 8 point. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. First of all, you see me kind of like very emotional. That was a lot of fun, and I have never seen. I'll never forget. So this buck, he walks out. I had sprayed some estrus right on a couple of trees because you can do that in Michigan. And I was sitting down and I heard something behind me, so I kind of looked behind me. And then when I turned my head back this way, that 8 point there was staring at me. Yes, we call him 8 point in Michigan. It's not a 4x4, and as it would be here. But that buck was staring at me and he was drooling because it was during the rut. He had smelled the estrus. He was looking for that doe, right? But he had caught me, right? I turned my head. He saw me turn my head. And so he's staring at me and I'm thinking, all right, just don't move. And if he puts his head down behind this little pine sapling, then yeah, well, we're good to go. So he does that, and that's where the video starts. And so I have this little circle there. Well, that's where this video starts back because I do have a little intro and whatnot. But there's this little circle on the pine tree, and then he walks, and unfortunately the sun was in my face, so the camera kind of glitches out, and you can't really see everything. But yeah, he comes out, man, and he's walking, and just remember that him drooling was just amazing. And so he comes out, and I line him up, and I go, Matt, and he stops. It's like a classic hunting video, right? And then I pull the trigger, and the safety's on, right? And so I have to click it on, and he's still staring at me. I mean, he's just completely love drunk at this point. And so I pull the trigger again, the arrow flies, and I actually got him. Because of the sunlight, I couldn't see this. He was quartered toward me a little bit, and so I hit where I was aiming, but I got him like in the neck because it was a little bit over since he was quartered toward me. And it ended up hitting, I believe that's the aorta, I don't know, some big artery in there, and it stuck kind of just right in his neck, having sliced that. And he ran, and he hit a tree with the arrow, and it broke off. And then he went and just crashed. And I heard him crash. It was really exciting. I get there and I open him up and I found half of arrow and my broadhead inside of his neck that was also just like, you know how they've got like a membrane in between their organs and their neck there. His whole neck was just full of his blood. And so, yeah, I had to cut that open and then drain him out. And then I pulled that arrow out and we ended up finding the other arrow. And so that's why I ended up putting the arrow on this because I don't like wasting arrows, but it looks pretty cool. And you got that arrow there like that. And there he is, you know. So that was a lot of fun. Go watch that video if you like hunting. I had a blast, and you you see me get really excited after I shoot him. You know, I was like just laughing, couldn't believe it happened. You know. So, anyways, well, guys, I think that's gonna be it for our little hangout. If you guys like this kind of stuff, let me know. I'll do it more often. Would love to hear from you guys. But I guess thanks for watching, and until next time, God bless. How do I turn it off? That was a really good ending, and then I'm like, I don't know how to turn this off. That button? Nope. Oh.